Hi everybody, I'm going to show you guys some really cool things today. And it has to do with supply and demand and how to use that to buy pullbacks. So the idea here is when you have a rally and you have a pullback, how do you know demand is entering? How do you know demand is entering? Okay? How do you know demand is entering here? All right. So from the basic Wyckoff guidelines, yes, you know that it rallies on increasing price spread and increasing volume. All right. So what that means is that when demand comes in, one way to identify it is price volume increase. But I'll show you some other things. All right. Now here's the thing that you need to know is typically that increased price spread and volume. So let's say you have. Let's just say this is the spread, right? Boom. And this is the volume bars. So you have volume here, you have price. This would be the height of the bar. Where it says price, it would be the distance or the spread or the height of the bar from high to low. Okay? So you see that on the right hand side of the pivot, we have a bar that increases in both price and volume. So this is an expression of demand. All right, it's called demand. All right, now, so the price pulls back, and then over here you have a big range and big volume. So this is the expression of demand. And you have this right here, increased price spread and increased volume right here. Increased price spread and increased price volume. But note that many times you will also have this other case where you have an increased price spread and fairly normal volume. So how do you interpret this situation? This situation it means that there's lack of supply overhead. That's why a little bit of volume did a lot of damage. A little bit of volume was able to push price, and price from high to low expanded. So this is also a bullish situation, which is called lack of supply, and that's right here, where it rallies on increased price spread and reduced volume. It's a lack of supply, and both these situations are bullish, right? So this bullish. Okay. But the thing is that both of these situations where you have widespread price and volume as well as big price spread and not that much or mediocre volume, they're both bullish, but they both occur on the right hand side of the pivot, which means they're occurring here. They occur here. You have a bar. All right, they occur there. When price pulls back, then pivots up with a thrust, with a widespread bar. If it has a lot of volume, it's demand. If it doesn't have a lot of volume, it's a lack of supply. Either case, it's bullish because price was able to pop up and had expansion in range. If it did it on volume, it's demand. If it did it on mediocre volume, meaning not that much, then it's a lack of overhead supply because a little bit or mediocre volume was able to push price up. This is also bullish. But what I want to know is, how does demand reveal itself on the left-hand supply, And how can I actively watch this on a screen and practically use it to get ready to buy or sell, if, in the reverse situation, right? I want to know this. I don't want to know after the fact, after the turn. I want to see as it's coming down, demand entering. As it's coming down, demand entering. And I'm going to show you an indicator for this too. All right. So it's coming down. I want to see entering, 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 entering. Until there's so much, it's like brain dead obvious that there's demand. So how do you do this on the left-hand side? How do you... These two situations are on the right-hand side, but I want to see it here. On the left-hand side, of this pivot, I want to see it, right? So price is rallying, pulling back, and I want to be alerted somewhere here that there is demand coming in. Okay? I don't want to wait for the pivot. I don't want to, do all of that. I want proof and evidence that demand is stepping in. As it's stepping in, I might just take the pullback even before the reversal. All right? I can actually get the best prices at most discounted prices as I see demand coming in over here. Just get in. Instead of waiting for a reversal and it might pull back, might not pull back, and just fly. So I want to see it, over here. Okay, I want to see it there on the left-hand side of the pivot as it's pulling back. As it's pulling back, I want to see it. So how do you do that? And this is where effort comes into play. All right, and I'll show you how to do that. Where it says demand reacts on decreased price spread and increased volume. All right, now understand this. It's really important, and this is so important, like for a trader that. All right. Anyway, so reacts on reduced price spread. Where is it? Reacts on decreased price spread and increased volume. So when it's doing, what does that mean? If you have increased price spread, decreased price spread and increased volume, there's a mathematical relationship here that can be identified via an indicator and quantified via an indicator, which allows you to detect the presence of demand. Okay? If your volume is increasing and your price spread, let's just call it S, is flat or decreasing, or if it's flat or decreasing, there's a mathematical relationship that can be modeled, and you can use it to identify demand coming in on the pullback. And you're not going to find a lot of this stuff, but I'll show you. Basically, it would mean that volume per price is increasing. That means on the pullbacks, volume per price is increasing. If price is reacting on decreased spread and increasing volume, that means we can show the relationship and quantify and measure it, and it would basically be volume per price, and this would be increasing. So let's now take a look at actual examples of this. All right. So the bottom indicator here is volume per price, the blue one. Volume per price. And within it, I have just quantified it. Okay, this is the biggest volume per price in 106 bars. This is biggest in 2 bars, biggest in 4 bars. You know, stuff like that. All right. The key is, as it's pulling back, I want to see this thing shoot up, because it would identify volume demand being bought on the pullback on the left-hand side of the pivot. Not waiting for the right-hand side, not waiting to get surprised. I want to see it increase as this thing is pulling back, so I can see that, you know, the money's coming in, because volume is money. So volume per price is increasing. Now, many many traders who study like order flow and stuff, they will just say, oh, this is a type of absorption and etc., etc. And that's true, but that's what's going on. All that volume is being absorbed, and it would mean that the price is unable to push through, and it's contained. Why? Because of those orders absorbing all of the supply, so that demand is coming in, absorbing all the supply. So whatever you call it, I just call it demand. And now I'm going to show you. So you will see at the turning points that this increases very significantly. So I'll give you the case here where, you know, ES was pulling back, ding, 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 ding. So I want to see it go into this demand zone, and I want to see the volume. I'm looking at volume and volume per price. I'm looking at volume, which is this middle one, and the bottom one is volume per price. I want to see it, you know, go up. All right. So it's going down, ding, 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 and bang, right here, 106. It means too much volume, way too much volume per price. As we know, the Wyckoff definitions say what? That demand is identified by increasing volume and decreasing price range, which will lead to an increase in volume per price. And this is the biggest in 106 volume per price bars. Obviously, it's demand at the demand zone. And that's what happened. Boom. It was basically like accumulation. And then it went up. So I'll give you another example of price is going up. Ding, 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 ding. This first indication that something's not quite right, because I see it's increasing to like 7. Actually, it would be the 12. Like, I want it to be a more, you know, like 10. And then I want to see price react. So it's going up, up, up. Here, there's some supply. And then it shoots up into the supply zone, which is another point I want to make, is that really you should, you know, you have to get the trade location right. First and foremost is trade location before looking at any of these behaviors. Why? Because there's a lot of orders coming in and out, so trade location is a filter. Where am I? So over here you have 7. Then 12, and then in this candle, which is the supply area, as price moves into the resistance, this thing happens. That you have, first of all, you have high volume right here, right? So already you know there's something that's climactic. And second, you notice the volume per price, even on the bar right after it, shoots up to the biggest in 17 bars. That's the biggest in the entire swing. Biggest in the entire swing. Biggest in the entire swing. All the way back into a supply zone. So you have a lot of volume and a lot of volume per price. Clearly, this is an area of selling distribution right here. Just like this was too much, too much accumulation here. Because of biggest in 38, the volumes are biggest in 38, and the volume of price is biggest in 106. It it means that buying activity, demand is coming in. Over here, supply is coming in because you have too much volume per price. It's not doing anything. It's not pushing, able to push. Why is sell orders here? However they're implemented, who cares if they're iceberg, limit orders, don't care. Market orders, whatever. All right. All I know is that this area, you have all of this activity, all of this volume, and unable to push, and the range contraction means something's going on. That's selling, that's redistribution. Again, we'll take a look at this swing. Price going down, 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 right? These are just, okay, so it breaks here. It starts going down, down, so you have 2, 3, and all of a sudden, goddamn, 77. 77, most volume per price in 77 bars, and the volume is quite high, 48, biggest in 48. So volume per price right here in this bar, the volume per price is biggest in 77 bars, and the volume is quite high. They're accumulating here. Now it breaks some more, and that's fine. It can go 1 or 2 bars, but I want to see that reversal, and there it is, right here. Okay, so this is where it initially tags that accumulation area, and then finally 2 bars later it reverses, right there. But this is your demand. As the price is going down, it encounters demand and reverses. As the price is going up, it encounters supply and reverses. As the price is going down, it encounters demand and reverses, and it ding-dongs here and then finally shoots up. So similarly, we'll just take a look at some other examples. And you'll see that at the significant turning points, this is, at the majority of the turning points, this is the behavior. Now, I don't want to look at the small waves because they're meaningless to me. There's no point in trying to analyze small waves. I want to analyze the larger waves as they're going up. For example, right here, it shot up to 8. I'm looking for numbers that are 10 or a little bit more. But this area is telling me that there is some supply right here. All right, now I prefer to be a number greater than that. This is only 1.19 times average. Right, I want bigger numbers. Like for example, over here, this is 1.87 times average. This is, it's not even that great, but it's the biggest in 17, which compensates, but this is only 1.36 times average. It's not that much, but the other count, 17, is meaningful because it's biggest in the swing and it's well above 10. All right, over here, this is 2.10. All right, so here's a meaningful one. Go ding, 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 ding. Here you have biggest in 25 and 1.37. Okay, right here is biggest in 25 and 1.37. This bar. So on the downswing, this bar here. This bar is the biggest volume per price in 25 bars. And it is 1.37 times average. And then 2 bars later, we have our reversal. This bar is biggest in 15. Okay, so it's above 10. That's important. And it's the 1.3. 1.3. All right. So biggest in 10, 1.3 times average, so above average and significant, bigger than 10, within a supply zone. And then has a reversal. Just keep on looking at this. See, it just catches the top And here again, the numbers are quite high. So I'm looking for pullbacks, right? So anytime, let's just start looking for pullbacks. There's one that's 10 right here. See this? 1.39 times average, biggest in 10, and then you have your reversal. Here, I don't like the count. This one is good. We have the most amount, in 20, and then 1.45, or this low, which is biggest in 9 and 1.23, and then eventually you have a reversal. Anyway, you get the idea. So the idea here is that demand on the pullback, you want to create a basic relationship between price spread and volume, so you can identify this demand as the market is pulling back to see demand come in. So price spread will decrease and volume will increase, which automatically means that you have a lot of volume per price within that bar. And that will then increase these values here, which can be quantified to identify demand on any pullback or supply on any pullback. Right, so this is just an idea that is straight from the Wyckoff guideline, and it's very helpful in addition to watching the volume per price, or the average volume per price, of a particular bar, and seeing that and quantifying that. Just look for demand coming in on the pullback on the left-hand side, so you're not really dependent on waiting for the right-hand side and then making a judgment, but can see it increasing. Like for example, it starts increasing 6, 7, and then one bar later, boom, 106. So see it'll start increasing because they're buying on the pullbacks. All right, that's all I got. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye.